Hey everybody, welcome back. Today we're at Rosedown Plantation here in St. Francisville, Louisiana. As you can see, this beautiful plantation house behind me that we're about to go take a look at and tour the inside of and also the outside of. It's just a beautiful day. It's like in the mid to high 50s out here and just beautiful weather. So couldn't have picked a better day for it. And I'm not going to take too much time. Let's jump right in. Hope you enjoy it. And let's go take a look at Rosedown Plantation. I'll tell you all about it. Here's a gift shop where you get your tickets.
And then there's 6 or 7 buses outside, so the bathrooms will be full and stuff,
All right, guys, let's jump right in. Here's the house, which is absolutely gorgeous and very well preserved and kept up. The house was actually finished in 1835 by the Turnbull family, and they came from a lot. Both husband and wife came from lots of money. Their families, I think, collectively owned like 46 or 45 or 46 plantations, mostly on the East Coast, Eastern Hemisphere of the United States. And they came here and established essentially 4 different plantations. One was sugarcane, one was cotton, one was tobacco, and another one, I think it might have been another one of those 3. Here's some beautiful statues out here in the front. We're about to go into the house to go take a tour as soon as it starts here. And for those of you who want to come and take a tour, it starts each tour, it starts at 10 o'clock every morning. And there's a tour at the top of the hour every hour until 5 o'clock. I'm just circling around this front property here, looking at these beautiful oak trees and some of the statues and stuff. And so yeah, the house was built in 1835 and served as a cotton plantation. This specific location was cotton, in which they had 3,000 acres worth of cotton plantation. And the Turnbulls, when they moved here and came here, kind of created and developed their own strand of cotton seed, which made apparently, from the research and from the info I got from the place, is that they had a very nice, very, very soft strand of cotton seed that was very valuable, and they made a lot of money off of it. And back then, only because of the massive amount of slave labor they had back then, which was essentially free labor, as we all know. They were able to make a vast fortune. Vast fortune. These people were like Bill Gates rich. They were filthy rich. I mean, they owned 4 plantations just in this area alone. Look at these beautiful statues in this walkway. I'm going back to the canopy of oak trees, guys, don't worry. Kind of showing you some of these statues here. Here's another one. And essentially, as the Civil War approached, the year before the Civil War started was the plantation's busiest, most successful year ever. And Daniel Turnbull, who's the plantation owner, he died. Basically right whenever the Civil War started, he died. And lots of things at that time started changing. The war started and all that, and then slaves were freed not long after that. And so when slave labor went away, they almost basically couldn't afford, they weren't making nearly the profit they were before because of the fact that, any labor they had, they'd had to pay for and all that back then. So basically around that time also. And back, talking about the house itself, a lot of, antebellum homes and homes built before the Civil War time frame, lots of them were burned down, like burnt to the ground. It's another statue. But this one escaped that fate because Nathaniel Banks, who was a general, Union troops general, who was in this area and kind of calling the shots around here, in 1863, they decided not to burn houses anymore. So Rosedown, it's a pretty statue right there. Nice fountain in the back too. Let's go take a look at that real quick. This house escaped that fate and it didn't burn down. And so when the original owners of the house passed away, it was passed down to their daughter Sarah. This is really nice, huh? I don't see any coins in there, so maybe people don't make wishes with this one. There's another fountain behind on the other side of that gazebo. These beautiful oak trees, mossy oak trees.
Okay, the chandelier here is original to the house, and it burned whale oil instead of kerosene. Whale oil is 15 times brighter. He was in the education system. the master bedroom. So Mr. Turnbull was Scottish,
How pretty she is.
baby doll room, yeah. This took care of all 13 children here. They would stay here till they were about the age of 2 and then move on to the next bedroom. And it had, just step on up. in it from there. We have a double barrel Parker shotgun on 18 inch on the shelf right there. I got a Loretta for my Christmas present. I got a Robin purse behind me.
Martha Washington, that's crazy.
Yeah.
Martha Washington.
As I said, he managed a plantation.
Check this out, guys. This is right outside the house. We just finished a tour inside the house. And the tour guide pointed this out. It's a cypress tree, as you can see here, with an oak tree growing out of it. As you see here, you see the oak limb coming right out of the cypress tree here. Isn't that crazy? Both very healthy too. And beautiful. Never seen that in my entire life. Everything here is just so pretty outside. Here's the back of the house. Check this out. The milk shed. The milk shed, a structure with a low roof designed to keep the sun off the outer walls, is where food was cooled. Milk, butter, cheese, eggs, and other perishables was stored in the milk shed. Floor was dug out, filled with ice and hay, and hay was placed atop the ice for insulation. Sorry, I'm reading this and scanning around the room, guys. The milk shed was an integral part of food preparation and was a common stop for enslaved people involved in churning butter, gathering eggs, and making cheese. This is super cool. The kettles, a brick arrangement with two large kettles nestled into the top. The space below the kettles for burning a fire. This structure provided a place for washing clothes and making soap. The utmost care was taken by the Turnbulls in regards to the way they presented themselves. In every facet of their lives, appearance was critical. An example of this can be seen in the process by which they selected Aggie, their washerwoman. Aggie's purchase and her abilities were discussed in a letter from a business associate to Daniel Turnbull. This is the outdoor kitchen right outside the house. As you can see, we're on the left wing of the house, basically. This is the kitchen, which obviously most places back then used outdoor concepts for prepping and cooking food and such. And again, about 90% of the stuff at this estate is original. This is furthest I can go. I can't step past the rope here for obvious reasons. There's maybe a churn right there. And the tour guide was telling us, by the way, that the only place, or the top two plantation houses in the United States that have the most original things in them are Mount Vernon and this one, which is Rosedown, obviously. So this is second place. Mount Vernon has the most original, the highest percentage of original materials to see at the plantation or at the estate. And then this is second behind that at 90%. Look at that huge fireplace. That thing's enormous. That's about 5 feet high. I'm 6 feet tall. It's about 5 feet high and about 8 feet wide. Pretty cool stuff. This is the biggest, well, of the few plantations I've done so far, which have only been about 2 or 3. This is the biggest, most expansive outdoor kitchen, if you want to call it outdoor, that I've seen yet. And here's looking out towards the house from the kitchen. All right, guys, walking towards the gardens now. This cool little gazebo here. If I can find the gardens, I think we're in them now. Yep. It's almost like a little maze. These are inspired by the gardens at Versailles in France. When the owners and the Turnbull couple got married, they were both from very wealthy families, so like wealthy families do, they send their newly married couples to Europe, or at least they did back then. And apparently they were inspired by the gardens there at Versailles. And if you guys don't know what I'm talking about, you should go Google it or go visit it and see what I'm talking about. But they came back and had it established here. And apparently the slave, one of the enslaved, who was very, very skilled in like plant propagation and horticulture and stuff, basically designed or, implemented all of this. Which is sad to think about. It makes me kind of sad to think about because you hear about that a lot, like these, slaves in the past who were really good at a craft, but yet they couldn't go off on their own and make their own money from it like you can these days. They had to just work for free basically, and substandard conditions a lot of the time. But nevertheless, this was all credited, and I liked what I heard when they gave that specific slave all the credit for this garden, because they should get credit for that. Look at this beautiful oak tree in the middle here. And then whenever the plantation was purchased for the first time outside the family in 1955 or the mid-50s, Catherine Underwood, who's the one who bought it, she was a horticulturist and all that, and she basically had the gardens revamped and renewed, basically, and had them put some new life into them again to keep alive what was established here by that very talented slave who implemented all of it. Nice little fountain here. No coins in it. And so as you can see, it's hard to see from this view without getting an aerial view of it, but I'm trying to kind of walk around a little bit and show you guys the way it's laid out. It's like these little maze walkways. And this is called a frieze or a freeze wall, or it's to help with the plant propagation. As you can see in here, I think you can walk down into it, I think, but it's like in the ground. As you can see, it's in the ground at a slant, and then see if we can go down into it. It's a cool little concept. I've never seen anything like this before. See if we can get in it. Yeah. Got to be a hobbit to fit in here for sure. Look how cool this is. And lots of the, by the way, speaking of the gardens, a lot of the original garden plants, like the ones we were just walking amongst, camellias, azaleas, stuff like that, are lots of them are very original plants. When Miss Catherine Underwood came through and re-implemented or revamped the garden area, pretty much, she kept alive a lot of the original plants that have been here for the last 100 years before that or whatever. So and then she, being a horticulturist, she implemented a lot of, I think she's the one that actually implemented the azaleas and the camellias here on the plantation. But it's cool. See if I can get back out of here now. And now we're at the original garden tool house. The garden tool shed was the hub of Martha Turnbull's garden work. Martha was the wife of Daniel. Many of the tools displayed were developed by her on the plantation. Peacock moss and cedar fern, both rare plants, grow alongside the tool house and across the paths. Here's some, I believe these are, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think these might be camellias right here with the pink flowers. Because camellias do grow a very pretty pink flower. Try to get in the way of other tourists here, guys. I'm sorry. Here's the tool shed, though. And some of the vegetation, beautiful landscaping around it. There's just so much to show here. I could spend 2 hours on this property showing you guys every square inch of all this beauty here, but I don't make too long of a vlog for it. But isn't it beautiful though? You guys definitely need to come see it for yourselves. We'll take a look inside the tool shed, tool house. And like I said before, about 85 to 90% of this plantation's pieces are original. Old pottery there. Nice brick floor too. Not a whole lot to this, but I guess in anybody's, even these days, in people's tool sheds and such, you're not going to see a whole lot in there besides the base essentials, the bare essentials, huh? The garden tool shed was the hub of Martha Turnbull's garden work. Many of the tools displayed were developed by the plantation. Peacock moss and cedar fern, both rare plants, grow along the side of the tool house and across the paths. Kind of like the other sign said. And that might be maybe some of these. Another pretty little fountain. Looks pretty old too. And again, I'm not a horticulturist. I can't label all the plants I'm seeing, but here's some of the moss Maybe that's one of the ones that it was talking about, moss ferns and all that. Maybe some of you guys would know. You guys recognize any of those at all? Hey, here's a more broad view of the gardens, guys. I got my telescopic arm raised on my gimbal here, so you can kind of get more of an idea with the gardens, how they're laid out. And it is the beginning or the middle of winter, so probably not as green as they usually are. Let's see if I can give you more of a broad view again. And there's a gazebo again that we walked through. It's like the entrance to the gardens. Look, here's some pretty little, I don't know what these are. Again, I'm not a flower guy or a plant guy, but I'm sure you guys know what those are. Now, this next little building I'm walking towards right now, kind of like the pigeonier that we saw at Magnolia Mound, used for certain birds and such. Well, that's what this is. This is for doves. More specifically, doves. And it's original. Built in the 1830s. And it's still standing today. Take a quick look at it. Now, after the plantation kind of took a downfall because of the lack of slave labor and all that, some of the structures on site were disassembled, and they used the wood for other things like building houses and such like that. But some of these original structures like this one were kept intact and kept up, like this one. It's pretty big. It's about 10 or 11 feet wide, squared. Here's a little door. Let's see if it's able to be open. Oh, cool, it is. Wow. It's like a tree house. It would definitely make one heck of a tree house, that's for sure. Wow. Very well kept. Put a little latch there. This nice little cypress pond behind us, covered in duckweed. It's so serene. I could just spend time out here thinking and relaxing. So peaceful. And here's looking at the back of the house again, and if we pan over to the left, we just came from over there where the dove house was in the lake, the little pond. And this piece right here, this piece of this wing added to the house was added in 1854 to accompany the growing family of the Turnbulls. And this was around the time where Sarah, the daughter of Daniel and Martha, took over the house, or after her parents passed away. And they called this piece, or this wing, Nina's wing. And I'll go walk up. You can't get inside of it, but you can look at some of the artifacts, if you want to call them that, right inside the window here that date back to that time frame. And I'll do like I typically try to do and get inside here to look at some of the goods. And some old tools and stuff like that were used. And there's Nina right there, Nina Bowman. And Sarah, who is again the daughter of Daniel and Martha, she married a Bowman, and so that's where Bowman comes from. You see that old chaise lounge in there, behind there. That's pretty cool. An old, I guess, an alarm clock maybe? West Clock 1936 Bingo Style 2 alarm clock. An old flashlight next to that. 1937 flashlight made in Hong Kong. And to the right here is a pre-World War II alarm clock. There's some old pins and tie clips. Button hook and cuticle tool. Right there, if you can see it. Trying to avoid this glare here. Keep bumping the window, sorry. Portrait of young James Bowman, that's her husband, that hung above the fireplace in the dining room. Keep hitting the window, I'm so sorry. Pretty cool. This wing, this part is not part of the walk, like the tour, like to walk inside of or anything. But they do let you you can look through the windows, and lucky for you guys, I have my camera again, so I'm able to see, for the most part, see inside of it. And this is where her extended family, Sarah's extended family, some of the Bowmans would have stayed. There's another like chaise lounge right here, right in front of us. Imagine just backing those. Imagine getting to live in a place like this. Next to all this. 3,000 acres of just beautiful southern mossy oak lined property. And by the way, this was all given by land grants. Acquired, it took about 2 years for the Turnbulls to get the land grant here for this property, but they got it. And they came here and made a cotton plantation out of it in the 1830s. All right, so now we're like off of the left wing of the house. You can see the front of the house right there, and just to the left of the house, which is basically our last feature of this lovely tour, is this greenhouse that was established by Catherine Underwood back in the 50s. Japanese yew, Podocorpus macrophylla something, Maki. Any of you guys recognize this kind of tree? Anyway, so let's take a look. We can't go inside of it, but it's I want to take a quick look at it before we go. I'll show you guys. Look, you can get a good view of it all. Right here. Wow, that's nice. Obviously, people still use this, and because there's lots of fresh new plants in there. Look how pretty this all is. And all the sun, like just all the light that gets in there. Wow. And here's a privy. Can't pass this up. Now, if you guys have seen any of my other vlogs, a privy is what the people used as an outhouse back in the day. And I think this was actually used up until the 50s or 60s. There was no electricity or any of that stuff in this house until, like running water or electricity in this house, until around the 50s or 60s. They just wanted to keep it that way. Here's 3 here. Here's a smaller one and then 2 bigger ones. This is a privy, which is basically an outhouse, a fancy outhouse. One vented side piece on the wall right there for ventilation. And this nice little, I don't know what you call that, kind of crown molding centerpiece, and it looks like probably the fanciest privy I've ever seen before. But let's see what this is over here. There's steps here. I guess I can step on them. It looks like it's more of a like a coop, like a chicken coop or something, right? I can't get in there, so I'm sorry, but interesting. Yeah, probably a chicken coop. And this is all behind the house. And there's the outdoor kitchen we looked at earlier. And there's a house on the other side over there. And Nina's wing way back there. And this right here is the old woodshed, which is definitely original because they told us it was. One of the structures that were kept intact, dating back to 1830s. 1830s. Can't get in there either, but let's go ahead and see if I can get a view in there. So right next to the greenhouse, almost forgot about this, but there's this cool, what they call a rockery, which is basically a rock garden. This cool looking tunnel to it. It echoes, echoes, echoes. Just kidding. I don't know if it serves much of a purpose besides just looking really cool, but it's pretty cool. And again, this is all like right next to the house. And there's this cool looking, some more trees. I just can't get enough of these mossy oak trees. So you guys are getting your fill of them today. Like it or not. This is a plantation doctor's office. Keep stumbling upon more stuff to show you guys. Medications in the Civil War. More Civil War soldiers died from diarrhea than were killed in battle. Wow. Indeed, more than twice as many soldiers were killed as a result of battle. Universal ailment of all soldiers and the deadliest had many names. The soldiers would call it the Tennessee trots, Virginia quick step, or the bowel complaint. The medication commonly administered to soldiers was a mercury and chalk compound called blue mass. And here's some of the doctor's instruments from that time. Talking about amputations right there. Whew. Can you imagine? No anesthesia back then either. Looks like a doctor's office from back in the day, huh? The bed over there, right in front of the fireplace. Old chairs. Wow. Let's see what we can see in here. Sorry if there's a glare. I'm doing my best. There's a big glare on this piece of window right here. There we go. Desk right there. That's pretty nice. Old doctor's office, plantation doctor's office. They had their own doctor's office here on the property. All right, guys. Well, I hope you enjoyed all of that. That was a pretty extensive tour there, huh? I know there's a lot of stuff to show you guys, but I'm going to sign off right here in front of the carriage house here. and lots of cool stuff, beautiful things to look at today, inside and out of the house. So much to see, so much to talk about. This is one of the better ones that I enjoyed this one very, very much. So anyway, feel free to leave your comments. There will be hopefully some more plantation ones coming up in the near future. And stay tuned for more. Like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you get more notifications when I make these videos. And in the meantime, I'm going to sign off on this beautiful day here from St. Francisville, Louisiana at Rosedown Plantation. Hope you enjoyed it. Stay tuned and have a great day, guys. Bye-bye.